The rich love to sell you the myth that the strong survive by stepping on the weak. They want you to believe that capitalism is some kind of Darwinian ecosystem where only the best competitors make it out alive. That's the social Darwinist fantasy, a fever dream cooked up by the ruling class to justify why they hoard wealth while the rest of us fight over crumbs. But the truth? The wealthy survive because they cooperate. That's what Peter Kropotkin spent years proving when he wrote Mutual Aid, a Factor of Evolution in 1902. Kropotkin wasn't just some radical philosopher ranting in a smoky basement. He was a scientist, a geographer, a guy who actually went out into the Siberian wilderness and studied how living things endure hardship. And what he found shattered the social Darwinist propaganda. Survival isn't about crushing your competition, it's about helping each other. Kropotkin's research showed that the most successful species weren't the ones that tore each other apart. They were the ones that would work together. Wolves hunt in packs, birds travel in flocks. Early humans built communities to protect and feed each other. The idea that individual struggle is the only way forward? That's a capitalist con job designed to keep us isolated and afraid. And this concept doesn't just apply to animals or ancient tribes. It applies to working class resistance. Let's fast forward to the early 20th century, when the industrial world was a capitalist hellscape. The work was brutal. The hours were endless. The wages were criminal. If you got hurt on the job, you weren't just out of work. You were out of luck. No health care, no benefits, just a broken body and a pat on the back. Weird how things haven't changed much, huh? So what did workers do then? Well, they didn't wait around for the bosses to grow consciences. They built their own safety nets. In Minneapolis in 1934, Teamsters went on strike. The trucking companies thought they could starve them out, break them down, and send them crawling back to work. But they underestimated the power of mutual aid. Workers' families set up community kitchens, medical tents, and financial relief funds to make sure no one went hungry or homeless during the strike. The strike held strong, and the workers won. This wasn't charity, it was power. Fast forward to 1969, and you see the same principle at work in the Black Panther Party's Free Breakfast for Children program. The Panthers saw what capitalism and racism were doing to their communities. Hungry kids, neglected families, systemic poverty. So they stepped in. They fed thousands of children before school every single day, proving that mutual aid wasn't just about survival, it was about building an alternative to a failed system. And guess what? The US government saw that as a direct threat. J. Edgar Hoover himself called the program one of the biggest dangers to American stability. Not their guns, not their protests, their breakfast program. Because when people take care of each other without permission, it exposes how little the system actually does for them. That's what makes mutual aid dangerous. It makes the ruling class irrelevant. Now, let's be clear, mutual aid is not charity. Charity is when a billionaire writes a check for a tax break and slaps their name on a hospital wing. Charity is when a nonprofit makes you fill out 10 forms to prove you're poor enough to deserve help. Charity is a system built on gatekeeping and hierarchy, designed to remind you that you are powerless at the mercy of those who give. Mutual aid is different. Mutual aid says, we take care of us. No means testing, No bureaucratic hoops to jump through, no one deciding who is worthy of support. Mutual aid is solidarity, not charity. It's working class people making sure other working class people have what they need because no one else is going to do it. Dean Spade breaks it down in Mutual Aid, Building Solidarity During This Crisis and the Next, a book that should be required reading for anyone serious about organizing. He lays out exactly why mutual aid must be grassroots, decentralized, and free from the corruption of corporate money. Because the second you start begging for handouts from the same system that's screwing you, you're already losing. That's why mutual aid networks reject hierarchy. They're horizontal, meaning decisions are made collectively. Resources are shared without red tape, and there's no leader controlling the flow of support. And this model isn't just some utopian dream, it's already working. Right now, in Michigan, Metro Detroit Mutual Aid is training people in disaster response and survival logistics. Grand Rapids Area Mutual Aid Network is redistributing food, supplies, and housing support without bureaucracy. Mutual Aid of Northwest Michigan is proving that even in rural areas, people can build self sufficient alternatives to capitalist dependency. If we're serious about a nationwide general strike, mutual aid is not optional, it's essential. Think about it. If workers stop getting paid, mutual aid provides food and rent assistance. If healthcare workers walk out, mutual aid connects people to community clinics and first aid training. If supply chains break down, mutual aid networks ensure goods are redistributed where they're needed. The ruling class wants you to believe that striking is impossible because they control the food, the housing, the infrastructure. But mutual aid takes those weapons out of their hands. A general strike without mutual aid collapses in a week. A general strike with mutual aid can last indefinitely. That's why the next segment, I'll dive into the mutual aid networks already in place across Michigan, the ones that are laying the groundwork for real, sustained resistance. Because when the system fails, mutual aid wins. Let's keep going.